to open this conference is that had it been a conference like in normal times with physical presence, it is most likely that this conference would have taken place here in Budapest at the European Youth Center. And we would have been very honored and excited to have this conference on our venue. The Council of Europe has a long tradition of working with youth and with children. And of course, the Youth Center is part of this strategy. Um, there is an expression that we use in the Council of Europe quite often, especially in the youth sector where I work and where the Youth Center is located within the organization. And that is that human rights cannot be protected by legal means alone. And this might sound somewhat strange from coming from an organization that certainly has made an indelible impact on the legal structures of the European continent in the past 70 years since its establishment. However, this means that we believe that human rights, democracy, and the rule of law can only be protected if we have an educated, active citizenry that is aware of its rights and is willing to protect those rights and the rights of others should they be threatened. And we also believe that this work starts very early. In fact, we believe it starts in childhood when children can be made aware that such thing as rights exist. And of course, it's not about teaching children legal texts and conventions and dates and names, but more likely, or more importantly, a philosophy, a way of thinking about rights, which can already start in childhood. So this is our work in the Council of Europe's youth sector. And of course, the Council of Europe, another part of the Council of Europe, the Children's Rights Division, which might be more familiar to many of you, is dealing with children's rights specifically. I want to mention here that the Council of Europe's current strategy for the rights of the child was adopted in 2016 in Sofia. And so it's still within its 5-year period. And the 5 priority areas for this strategy are equal opportunities for all children, participation of all children, a life free from violence for all children, child-friendly justice for all children, and rights of the child in the digital environment. And I believe that several of these priority areas are relevant and important for this conference. And I do hope that will be references to this strategy. And I know that my colleague Eva Pastrana will talk to you more in detail about some of the work that the Council is doing to actually further and support education in the online space, and specifically with online digital materials to assist those who work with children in legal settings. I think that it's another important part of our work that must be mentioned, that there are very, very complex areas when it comes to working with children in legal settings. And one of such areas is how to make sure that children are aware and understand what happens to them in a legal setting. Children have very different needs from adults in these situations. And it's quite important that these needs are taken into account and children are assisted in an efficient way and an empathic way, actually, when they happen to be in such situations, which are not usual and not normal for most kids. So our work, the Council of Europe's work in this area, has been focusing on these issues. And in fact, just last Tuesday, our Secretary General participated in a high-level European Forum on Rights of the Child, which was organized by the European Commission. This just indicates that how close the cooperation between the Council of Europe and the European Commission is in the field of children's rights. And the strategy of the Council of Europe, which is the third strategy on the rights of the child, this current one, is working on developing workable standards in very complex areas, such as working with migrant children or unaccompanied refugees, working with children whose parents are in prison, or dealing with issues of online hate speech or even online sexual violence. So the Council of Europe, and working together with other organizations, of course, is making an effort to address these very complex issues in an efficient way and in a way that can be beneficial to its member states. So developing standards that then member states can adopt in their own legal practices and their legal frameworks. And so this area that this conference is dealing with is also part of those complex issues, and I welcome this event, and I applaud the organizers for tackling this issue and trying to tackle this issue also in this very difficult and complex environment that we find ourselves these days, when such conferences can only take place in the virtual space. But I also believe that these experiences also make all of us more resilient and more aware of the technical and technological tools that we have at our disposal to actually go beyond what was thought imaginable even just a few years ago. So with that, I would like to wish you a very fruitful event for today. And I do hope that sometime, at some point in the not so distant future, we can welcome many of you to Budapest at the European Youth Center. And I also hope that in the years to come, the work of this group and others who work on behalf of children's rights across Europe and across several different institutions, from international organizations to academia to the nonprofit sector, will continue to bear fruit and benefit those, namely children, on whose behalf this work is being done. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and I wish you a very pleasant day for the rest of the day and tomorrow.